She didn't fall for you by accident. She fought it, denied it, and still lost to it. Most men never realize when a woman is emotionally battling herself, because the age difference between you is so big it feels almost wrong in her own mind. She tells herself it's inappropriate. She tells herself people will judge. She tells herself this can never work. And yet, her emotions keep pulling her back to you like gravity. This is where it gets interesting, because when a woman falls in love across a massive age gap, the psychology is far deeper than simple attraction. What she's really doing is experiencing a conflict between logic and emotion. Logically, she sees the gap. Emotionally, she feels seen, understood, and emotionally safe with you in a way she hasn't felt with men her own age. Few men understand this, but women don't fall in love with age. They fall in love with emotional presence, stability, and the way a man makes them feel about themselves. You might think she's just being friendly. You might think she's curious. But the truth nobody says out loud is that she's studying you constantly. She watches how you speak, how you react, how calm you are. Because to her, you don't feel like other men. You feel grounded. You feel certain. You feel like someone who has lived, learned, and carries emotional weight without trying to prove anything. And this changes everything. Women are emotionally wired to be drawn toward emotional leadership. Not dominance, not loudness, but quiet certainty. When the age difference is large, she starts to associate you with maturity, guidance, protection, and emotional depth. These are subconscious triggers. She may not even be aware of why she feels comfortable around you. She just knows she does. But here's where it gets complicated. She is scared of her own feelings. She becomes more distant at times. She acts colder than usual. She might even avoid you for days. Most men misread this as disinterest. But what she's really doing is trying to create emotional distance because the attraction feels too intense and too forbidden in her own mind. This is a psychological self-defense mechanism. She tells herself, this is not right. This will never work. But her emotions betray her every time she sees you. That's why she stares longer than normal. That's why she asks deeper questions. That's why she remembers small details you forgot you ever mentioned. She is emotionally investing while pretending she isn't. Few men understand this silent behavior. When a woman falls for someone much older or younger, she becomes hyper-aware of how you perceive her. She wants to appear more mature around you. She wants to impress you intellectually, emotionally, even subconsciously. She starts adjusting her behavior, her tone, even her opinions when she's around you. Not to fake it, but because she wants to meet you at your level. This is not casual attraction. This is emotional admiration turning into desire. But the biggest sign most men miss is this: she feels emotionally calm around you. There's no anxiety, no performance, no pressure, just ease. And emotional ease is one of the strongest predictors of female attachment. She doesn't feel judged. She doesn't feel rushed. She feels understood, and that emotional safety becomes addictive. What she's really doing is comparing you to men her own age without even trying. She notices how immature they seem, how reactive they are, how unsure they feel, and then she looks at you, and the contrast is powerful. This contrast is what fuels her feelings, even if she never admits it. But here's the truth nobody says out loud. She is also afraid of what people will think. Society's voice becomes loud in her mind. Friends, family, social norms. And this creates emotional pressure. That's why she sometimes sends mixed signals. One day she's warm. The next day she's distant. She's not confused about you. She's confused about the situation. This is where your mindset changes everything. Most men, when they sense this, become needy. They seek reassurance. They ask questions. They try to define the relationship. And this instantly breaks the emotional tension that was making her fall for you in the first place. The powerful move is calm indifference, not coldness, not distance, but emotional steadiness. You act the same. You treat her the same. You don't chase. You don't pressure. Because what she is attracted to is the emotional gravity you carry. The moment you start seeking validation, that gravity disappears, and she feels it immediately. Few men understand that women are deeply attracted to men who are emotionally unaffected by external noise. When she sees that you're not worried about age, not worried about opinions, not worried about labels, it gives her permission to feel what she's already feeling. This is the mindset shift. You stop seeing the age gap as a problem. You start seeing it as the reason she feels drawn to you. Because what she is craving is not youth or similarity. She is craving emotional depth, calmness, and a sense of grounded masculinity that she rarely finds. And here's where it gets even more interesting. She starts imagining scenarios in her head, conversations, moments, situations, where you are closer. Women mentally rehearse emotional connections before they ever act on them. She plays these scenes silently while appearing completely normal on the outside. That's why sometimes you catch her staring. That's why she smiles for no reason when you talk. That's why her body language becomes softer around you. She is emotionally ahead of where she allows herself to be. But because of the age difference, she waits. She observes. She needs to be sure you are emotionally mature enough to handle this, without making her feel exposed or embarrassed. She is testing your emotional stability without you realizing it. And if you pass this test by staying calm, respectful and emotionally confident, her feelings deepen. Because now she feels safe not just emotionally but socially. She knows you won't rush her. You won't pressure her. You won't make this awkward. And that safety is what allows her emotions to grow stronger instead of shutting down. The truth nobody says out loud is that age differences don't stop attraction. Emotional immaturity does. If you remain grounded, patient, and high value in your behavior, she will naturally move closer to you, slowly, carefully, but genuinely. And one day she will stop fighting it. She will start initiating conversations more. She will find reasons to be near you. She will ask personal questions she never asked before. Because at that point, her emotions have won the battle against her logic. And when that happens, you won without chasing, without convincing, without forcing anything. You simply stayed who you are, because what made her fall was never your age. It was your presence. If this opened your eyes, subscribe now, because most men will never hear this truth.